Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to another wonderful episode of tonight. And it's Tuesday. It's me, Rattlocke, and welcome to this episode of Shred After Reading. Now, you guys that's never been here before, I'd love to give a giant hello to all of you. Hi, look at that. Narazuri, you're back again. I'm glad that you're back again. You were here last night when we did our Let's Watch Some Wrestling, and now we have some crazier stuff tonight. And it's going to be a wild one right now because Skull and Mortar. Hello, Skull and Mortar. How are you doing this evening? How's your orders coming along? I know you said something about how you got like 9,000 orders to get out. So, and I cannot wait to I'm going to try my best to get over to you and get my hands on that new backstabber sauce because I have a handful of people I need to probably give them out to as gifts. But anywho, I'm going to be trying it out, and it's going to be on my YouTube page, which is youtube.com/TheBadass Network. Here, I'll write it down here real quick in case any of you guys need to know. youtube.com/TheBadass Network. And just like Skull and Mortar's awesome shredded pork, chicken, brisket, any of that stuff. Today we're going to be shredding something too. I have this book here. If you guys don't know, a lot of these books were deemed marked for destruction by public libraries and whatnot because they were deemed unfit to rent out. For example, this one smells like a really nasty ashtray. Wouldn't be good for this to give out to anybody, especially non-smokers. And there is such a thing as what they call third-hand smoke. If you guys don't know about third-hand smoke, what third-hand smoke is you have the first-hand smoke, which is you actually smoking the cigarette. Then you have the second-hand smoke, which is you blowing that stuff in the air. That's second-hand smoke. Third-hand smoke is the particles of the smoke and whatnot that actually land on your clothes and your skin. That still has carcinogens. It's actually very bad for you. So my wife is a prime example. She had gotten a couple illnesses from third-hand smoke because anybody smoking around her and stuff like that, they would go up and touch her or rub up against her in their work and everything when they go out and smoke breaks and whatnot, rubbing up against you, and that would affect you. And it affected her. So always be wary of that, especially if you're smoking that. Not only can you affect yourself and others around you, but anybody that you happen to come into physical contact with. But yeah, like this one, like right now I'm getting second or third hand smoke just by touching this book. It's terrifying. But what I do is I give it the respect of reading a page. And after I read the page, I tear the page out and I feed it to my wonderful friend here. Who's my friend, you may ask? I will show you. He's here. His name is Master Shredder. Oh, there he is, Master Shredder. Now, for an example, this is part 3 of this book. I will take the page out. It's a wonderful thing. And tonight is going to be very ASMR. I will feed it to Master Shredder like so. Oh, wait. I can't feed him like so because I haven't woken him up yet. Master Shredder, it's time to wake up. Yeah. All right, let's see if he's awake now. Lovely. So this book, which now is page 141, is slowly being eaten by Master Shredder, paying my respects to the book when its original printing. Actually, I don't really care too much for this book. It's Joan Collins' Primetime. This is a very vulgar book. However, what I also wanted to point out, normally I read, now there's different things I have, like if you'll, on my little guy right here, you can't see it over there, but I have a special where if you donate $1 to my, let me fix this. If you donate $1 to my Cash App, which is right here, then I stop reading immediately. I pull that page out and I go ahead and feed it. If you do a $5 Cash App donation, I tear 10 pages out and then I feed it. And then I start reading from that point on. It's not manual. Like I can turn it on automatic like this and just let it run. But during the time when I'm reading it, I have it off so people can hear my voice. This was a shredder. This was an office shredder originally from the 80s, and I fixed it. And now it's wreaking havoc on books and unwanted bills and other stuff. As a matter of fact, this is because I have a side job where I do master shredders, uh, paper data disposal, where I have collected boxes and barrels of bills and ledgers and booklets and stuff that people don't want to just throw out in the trash. They want it completely destroyed. And I've fed it to Master Shredder here. And then besides feeding it to Shredder, I've also taken those shreds and they've decided, they let me know if they would rather have those shreds completely incinerated afterwards, because a lot of times people think you can just take a full piece of paper and throw it in the trash, light it, boom, and it burns. But people can sift through those ashes, and a lot of times, especially big, thick stacks of paper, are protected. You can open it up and still have information in it. So shredding it before burning it is a perfect way to make sure you completely annihilate any information that you would want to keep from any other prying eyes. Not only that, I have been able to take these shreds and use it for gardening by doing. I have a rolling compost bin and added some soil to it and stuff. And after 2 or 3 weeks, it has become wonderful compost that we've started using in our garden outside, as well as taking some of the shreds, boiling them and mixing them up, laying them out in the sun to dry, crumbling them, and then it becomes wonderful bedding for pets like rabbits and hamsters, because by boiling it and turning it into little soft, almost like a lint type deal, you're making sure, because I've seen a lot of people take paper shreddings and just throw them into the bedding for some of their pets right off the bat, but you don't want to do that because the edges can still cut the paws of the animals. So I've just incinerated them and thrown the ashes about. I've turned them into compost for plants, and I've even turned them into bedding for animals. And you can also just compact them really tight, let it dry, and now you have a briquette, which is great if you're going camping, because then it becomes its own little like Durafine log. However, tonight we're going to be doing a ton of shredding. A person has donated $60, and I did a special where if they donated the money to my Saint, I was at $140. My goal is $300. The last $60 is donated by this person. They said, I'm going to donate to the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Can you put it towards tonight? And I'm going to do that. And since it's $5 for 10 pages, they did $60. So $60 is 120 pages. That was an example that I just gave you. So without further ado, I'm going to be tearing out 120 pages and feeding it to this infernal machine. And while we're doing that, we can talk. You can ask me any kind of questions you want about myself, about life in general, about wrestling, about horror films and whatnot. And we'll talk and we'll tear. Because I'm on page 141, so 120 pages, I will be tearing into 261. So without any further ado, we're going to start feeding it. Here's page 1. So where I last landed off on this book, Susie and her longtime husband John were having some ins and outs with their relationship, but he was trying to help her land a role in this TV adaptation of an opera. But because I'm pulling out 120 pages, I don't get to find out really what happens until 120 pages later. I hope that the noise of the shredder is coming in well. if you think about it, 120 pages, and these are front and back. So technically, it's two sides, 120. So it's 240 pages total if you count them front and then back. So that's insane. So I'm going to be losing 240 pages of script. Oh, there's actually some cigarette ash in here. So hopefully you guys are going to be enjoying these sounds. Do you guys want me to just turn it on automatic, or would you guys like to talk or listen to me talk during this time? I even have some music I can turn up. Let's see what we have. This royalty free. Let's go lo-fi. It's playing. There we go. That's fun. You guys can still hear me fine, I hope. So we're already on page 159, just sitting here tearing pages and feeding the shredder. I'm actually going to be doing this on my YouTube channel, where I'm going to take books, papers, and just have nothing but soft music like this, and the focus is going to be mostly just this shredder. And it's just going to be you watching, listening to paper being shredded. I even have a bag full of old gift cards that are no longer in use, because the shredder can take care of those too. I'll be feeding the shredder those. Just some fun little ASMR. Here, I'm just gonna keep it running. It's an old machine, very old. Like I said, it was made in the 80s. It's a Sanyo, and this has been known to do about 8 to 10 pages at a time. But I don't want to. I just put life into it. Like last year, I don't want to run it out. Yeah, it's fun when it runs. You can put it in any way you want. Okay, let's just go ahead and put. No. It's not doing what I want it to. Yeah, I'll just do this. I'll see if. Thank you very much, sir. Hopefully, the little bit of phoniness and sleepiness not too much with this cutter. Some people they do like.
You guys read what's your favorite thing to read from the screen? In part 4. Let's see it. Let's see it. First, you know, there's nothing just weird. And that's an experiment. If you guys are ever interested in sending me papers, see you do them, keep them. See. That's it. Let's go without the let's go without the let's see. You guys like that. You guys like that extra noise going in the background. Church out. But somebody tell me what's 140. What's 240? Page 381. Well, it says page 381. That's okay. Ready. Start reading it now. Part 5. Takes place in 1982, California. Let's get like the big old guy. For the big. Fun watching. Let's watch the best I can. It gains more success for a second. And then tomorrow, the mobile app game any restaurant. And when I reach 43, be able to go against the wrestling against my own wrestling character. So that's exciting to find out. The only thing that's crap is attached to the shirt. It's
Just
this book. There's nothing else in this giant trash can than just these pages. So that's fine. Right, that's page 264.
20 pages away. I am at the half mark donation. So we are now halfway through before I can start reading again. You guys don't want me to okay. If you guys want me to continue shredding and not stop and read once I hit page 381, all you got to do is send money right here as the donations, and then I will accept those donations and I will continue tearing out pages. Like I said, every $1 is one page, like this, and every $5 is 10 pages. Just constantly tearing stuff away with the wonderful sounds of this paper shredder soothing you. But anywho, let's keep going. Let's do 10 pages right now. 10 pages. Let's see if it doesn't. Actually, that's pretty thick. We'll split to 5. 5 pages. 5 pages. You, Zuri, thank you very much once again for subscribing to my YouTube channel. What's your favorite kind of books to read? What's your favorite book to read? So yesterday, the funny thing I always like to tell people is I said one thing for people see this Christian. Start reading again at page 381. Unless you guys want me to keep reading. Yeah, the front end has been said. The very first episode we had before we started reading this book, the book was chosen by a person that just absolutely hated. Started reading this, I can tell why. So, read the script as a
magazine. Famous fight. $327, almost there. In 333, this is only trying to see. Don't know if I had it. Trying to make a break for it. It's 347, chapter 26. $353. His favorite pistol, the 357. Almost there, guys. Last pay from the donations.
There we go. We now have done the 60 full pages, meaning that was actually, you guys saw how thick the book was before? This is where we're at now. Insane. That much has been gone away. Would love to thank the anonymous donation to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I know they weren't able to watch it live as it was happening, but I will be doing what they requested and loading it up on YouTube later on for them to watch over and over again. So, unless anybody else would like to do a quick donation onto my Cash App to get me to tear more pages out, which you can actually do anytime you're watching me read, I am going to start. Now, remember, last time I stopped was on page 161, and Susie was trying a role for a daytime television show. and her husband was willing to do anything to help her get that role. 240 pages later. Saw the two women leave the lair. I don't swear, by the way. Saw the last of the crew members trundle away their equipment. It was quiet now on the set except for a hint of thunder in the stale air. Stealthily, he crept to the window of the trailer and looked in. She was sitting at the dressing table in a red dressing gown, leafing through some papers. She was sipping wine and smoking. What a terrible person. He crept to the door, he pushed it. It was unlocked. What a careless, terrible person. With a gasp, Chloe turned in front of the intruder. Who was he? He smiled. It was such a horrible grin. Good evening, Miss Career. Who are you? Get out of my lab. You'll see the theme that I'm doing as you see me replace words. Before I call security. She felt fear immobilize her. Well, don't you remember me, Miss Carrier? He mocked as he took his sunglasses and baseball cap off. Hey, I got glasses and baseball cap too. There we go. Oh my god, is that a random? Anyway. He slowly peeled off his red nylon wig. Oh my god, Chloe almost fainted. It was he. Dear God. What a weird name. Dear God. The man the police said had tried to kill her in Las Vegas. They'd let him out. But why? What are you doing in my lab? What do you want? Her voice exuded confidence she didn't feel. Although she was petrified, her hand went for the phone, but he grabbed it first. Well, I want to talk to you, Miss Carrier. You remember me now, don't you? She didn't answer. He put his face close to hers. Don't you remember me? Terrible woman. Yes, her voice said in a whisper, I do. Well, now close your eyes. She said, close your eyes and he'll go away. It is a dream. It's a nightmare. It doesn't happen. Where's Philippe? He's supposed to be here at 7. Oh, God, where is he? Why isn't he here? Well, we're going to talk now, and I want to talk to you, Miss Chloe, megastar, mean person. But first, I got a little present for you. That's disgusting. I'm not saying he moved his lab coat to the side and revealed it, an angry red rigid ruler, which he held with terrible fingers. In his other hand was a knife, the blade glimmering in the bright lights of her dressing room. He was inches from her. What a revolting object in one hand. It's a terrible Bunsen burner. The knife in the other. She picked up the glass of wine in a desperate move and threw it in his face. He gave a hoarse shout. I guess. Blinded momentarily by the wine, his hands went to his face and he dropped the knife. And in a split second, Chloe darted between him and the bunk bed in the tiny trailer and escaped onto the soundstage. It was dark, except for the glimmer of dim work light high above the gantry. But she knew this stage like the back of her hand. She knew the location of the 4 exits. She had to get one of them and find a guard. She realized it was futile to call out. No one would hear her on a soundproof stage. And as she ran, she tripped. She turned, sobbing, and saw the silhouette of this man against the light of the trailer. Animal sounds issued from his throat, like more horses. She could see the knife and his flaccid ruler hanging outside of his lab coat. She tried to stand up and with a sob realized he had wrenched her ankle. Gasping with pain and fear, she tore off her shoes and limped across the network of cables to the library set of Saga, which is okay. So they're filming Saga right now. That was the stuff that Susie was supposed to get, but it seems that Chloe got it instead. Okay. I'm gonna get you. She heard him crashing through the cables behind her and Persian carpet. Only 50 more yards. The green exit side was like a beacon. She hobbled past the arc lamps, lined up the sentries, past the coffee wagon. Where's that guard? Where's Philippe? She was weeping with fear, unable to move any faster. Suddenly, she felt this weird guy's hands clawing at her back. She tried to throw him off, but he had her. She smelled the sweat as he threw her down. Oh, I gotta tear it on page. Finish this page. Oh God, you guys didn't see it. Oh well. The ruler was all erect again. Her silk robe had fallen open, and her lab coat had totally been displayed, except for the sheer black tights. He sat across with his completely hard ruler pressing into the stomach with a knife in the throat. This is it, Miss Career. This is the end of the line for you. He spat at her as he took the knife and slowly started to cut away at her lab coat. Terror engulfed her as she struggled, but the knife was digging into her chin, drawing blood. Don't move, you evil woman. If you want to have fun, you will enjoy this experiment. Don't you dare move, you terrible, terrible woman. I've read about how you enjoy doing weird stuff with everything. All kinds of experiments. Men, dogs, horses, right? What in the world? That's why he was naying then. I've heard filthy stories about you in prison. He slapped her in the face repeatedly as he tried to do terrible things to her. Death was preferable to this, as Chloe thought. An instant death would be indefinitely, instead of being experimented on against her will by a homicidal maniac. With superhuman strength, screaming for help, she threw Calvin off her body, kicking him dead in the ruler as hard as she could, onto her knees, and she started to crawl to the door. Outside the stage, Philippe thought he heard muffled cries as he slammed his car door shut. It was almost impossible to hear anything from the soundproof stage, but he sensed danger. He pushed open the heavy doors and stopped in his tracks as he saw the horrific tableau before him. Chloe, who had just lost her lab coat, was huddled onto the carpet, her face a mask of mute terror. Inches from her stood a man, upraised, holding a knife, poised to strike. Calvin looked up at Philippe, startled for a second. The tableau was frozen. When Philippe moved, and Calvin's hand sliced through the air, and the blade tore through Philip's shoulder. Chloe's ears were ringing with screams, but she could no longer tell whose they were, if it was the madman's or Philippe's. They had always watched early morning news on the tiny portable TV in the makeup room. Emerald sat in one chair. See, now we're now talking about somebody named Emerald. Emerald sat in one chair, and her lovely new face, having a delicate layer of Max Factor paste applied to it. She looked at herself in the mirror, seeing again with the eyes she had been passing lost. A beautiful 35-year-old. Oh, that's great. She's 35. Josh leaned back in his leather and chrome makeup chair, eyes closed, thinking about the next scene while his face had the polyfier applied, as he joked to the makeup man. The TV announcement of the attempted murder of Chloe and Philippe's death jolted them out of their respective reveries. Oh no, I must call her, he cried out, springing out of the chair into his dressing room. Chloe's phone number, the one that he had obtained from Daphne but never used, was busy, constantly busy. In frustration, he dialed and redialed. You are needed on the set. Emerald came in without knocking. I wouldn't call her if I were you, she said jealously. The woman had just lost the man she loved. The last person she wants to hear from is her lovesick ex-husband. Josh put the phone down. He asked Perry to send Chloe a basket of white roses and tulips and wrote a note of condolences. The next day, he left with the unit for a week on location shooting in the San Gabriel Mountains. Emerald traveled in the limo with him. She looked at him coldly as he sat, shoulders hunched in his woolen sweater, deep in thought, ignoring her. She bit her lip and settled back angrily into a fake leather upholstery. She would try to get him out of her system. She would. She must. She had to. She just met a new man, a stockbroker from Houston, who was rich, twice divorced, gray-haired, but still reasonably attractive. Maybe he was finally done. Maybe the one that had been searching for his entire life would never find. What? No. I'm back. She opened her compact and gazed at her face again. Yes, it was still gorgeous. It had not changed in the half hour since she had passed look, but still, she had it. Beauty, charisma, fame, power. She was a superstar again. She had the world in the palm of her hand, didn't she? The radio was playing soft, romantic music. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is to just love and be loved in return. Crooned by Nat King Cole. Josh listened to those words. It had been one of the songs him and Chloe had sung together in Vegas in the 70s. It had brought the house down. He remembered her turquoise eyes, and how they had glowed when they looked up at his as they harmonized those words, oblivious to everyone and everything, the smoky saloon except each other. Okay, so I went from people trying to get a part in a daytime television show called Saga to an attempted horrible thing and a man being killed with a knife. God, what all did I miss? I'm actually happy I missed it. Philippe's funeral. That's chapter 29, by the way. When we stopped, I was on chapter 8. Philippe's funeral made front pages all over the world, setting almost as much covers as those of Rosalind and Sam's. Saga was hotter than ever, even if tragedy was the reason. So his death and that horrible thing that happened to her ended up helping out the show. Still, not a good reason to be watching the show. Abby and Gertrude were ecstatic. They're now consistently ahead of America in the ratings, but Chloe was melancholy and depressed. She lived because Philippe had died. She mourned for him for the love they had shared. She forgot his sulks, his stubbornness. She chose only to remember the happy times. It was a hot Saturday afternoon in June of 1987. Chloe walked slowly along the beach of Malibu. The little terrier dog. Okay, so 5 years have now passed since the funeral. You think you would have stopped there and then started the new chapter at 5 years later? Yep. Whoop. There we go. I'll just leave you on. Panning at her heels in 2 weeks, the 5th season of Saga would end. What then? What would she do with her life in the 3-month hiatus that stretched ahead of her? Should she accept one of the movie offers she'd received, or should she take a round trip around the world with Annabelle, who had been such a comfort since Philippe's death? Chloe kicked a stone along the water's edge and contemplated her future. The little terrier bountifully, joyfully after it. Good afternoon, Chloe. What a day, huh? Makes you glad to be a Brit in California, the familiar voice interrupted her thoughts. Josh, what are you doing this part of the Malibu? I thought you lived in town. She was thrilled to see him. The reflection of the sun sparkled in his eyes. His black hair, flecked now with gray, was tousled. A little too long, a little too untidy. She'd always loved it like that. Her eyes sparkled back at him, drank him in. I just took a house down the street there. He gestured past where the toddlers were playing. The teenagers now throwing a ball to Chloe's dog, pointing at a small redwood single house. The house had a little chimney on it, and the smoke was rising. It looked cozy, faintly English, and had hollyhocks growing out of the side. What a sweet house up there. What a sweet face, he thought as he looked up at her turquoise eyes. I've got your flowers in your note, she said softly. Thanks. He squeezed her arm gently. There was no need to say more. The sun was shining, the waves were lapping, the bare feet, and she was there. Well, how about a cuppa? He asked. English tea? Oh, so a cup is like, how about a cup of tea? I'm terrible at doing accents. What's to do, love? Yes, better. You don't think I'd drink American tea, do you? And bags with strings hanging out of it. It's revolting. I've even got a new China teapot from the Heralds, and scones and cream. Biscuits. Chloe smiled and then sauntered across the sand, the little gray house. Do you have any English bickies? Do I have bickies? I most certainly do. He looked at her and raised an eyebrow with a mischievous smile. Name your brand, babe, and I've got them. McVitie's chocolate digestive, custard creams, ginger snaps, and Scottish shortbreads from Portland. I'm going full Cockney now. Okay. If there's any English people watching me read this, I am sorry for butchering your accents. What about Sugar? She liked this. She liked him. She more than liked him. She loved him. She'd never stopped loving him. She knew it. The flame flickered longer. I hope you've got proper sugar. Oh, you bet I have, darling. None of that saccharine sweetness stuff of brown crystals. Turns the tea all a funny color. Proper sugar. Lumps, of course. White. Even if it's bad for you, don't care. I'm English. I like how tea's meant to be. We looked at each other for a very long moment. We walked slowly in the wet sand. The tide lapped their bare feet, and they laughed as they rolled up their jeans. A phalanx of seagulls swooped in the distance in perfect formation. The little dog chased them, wagging his tail, frolicking in and out of the waves. The Malibu was flat, like a deep blue velvet brushed the wrong way. The late afternoon sun varnished the gentle swell with golden reflections. And is there honey still for the tea? She murmured softly. Josh's arm encircled Chloe's waist, head folded into his shoulders, and her hand found his way gently and held it very tightly. And that's the end of the book. American tea does suck. That was actually the very end of this book. That's how it ended. Now, from what I remember, if you guys hadn't seen it, which I have past episodes of read or know shred after reading. Josh and Chloe were an item, inseparable, but Josh had some preferences that Chloe just couldn't stand. He had cheated on her and stuff like that, and eventually, after everything that happened, they found each other again, and got back, and that's how they end the story, with him being like, "Hey, I bought a house. You want to come hang out? You want to have some tea, cup of tea?" But yeah, no, American tea does suck. English and the roots. Yes, I personally prefer a nice Earl Grey tea myself. But no, this is the final. That was the final page of Prime Time by Joan Collins. So we have that one to shred. I'm happy I finished that book. And here's a bunch of blank pages that are going to go along with it. And there we have it. Probably wondering how much of this book I can shred. I like destroying things. Yorkshire tea and PG tips. Okay. I'll take some of this binding out. These guys right here, pieces of the binding. Because I said I was going to take as much of the book as I can and have it properly destroyed. There you go, Joan Collins Prime Time. Oh, right through. Seeing how much of this book as much of this book as I can. Black tea is a good tea, yes. Ooh, Skull and Mortar. Have you? There's some places I've seen. I went to Jungle Gyms. Have you ever been to Jungle Gyms up around Cincinnati area? I went there, and they have that big giant hot sauce area where they have the 1920 fire engine up on top with all this different like hot sauces and barbecue sauces, and they had one, and it is a black tea barbecue sauce. Ooh, almost didn't make it. But I thought that was exciting to see, and I'm like, that is like what every time we talk Skull and Mortar, I always think of like what kind of fun stuff can you do and challenges to bring to you. You know, it's like when we made that comment, and you were supposed to make a hot sauce or a barbecue sauce with the Vegemite and whatnot. I don't think this will go through. Nope. Okay. We found its limit. These unfortunately cannot be shredded. But we got this much of the book left. Everything else is currently inside that giant shredding thing. Well, the manager's got it in his personal collection. How about the manager try to get that stuff on the shelves in the store. That Jungle Gyms is supposed to have everything. I believe that's their big brag. I mean, you were the number one. You were the main barbecue sauce of pride for Greenwood, Indiana. So, I mean, come on. But that was an entire book now has been read and shred of Joan Collins Primetime. All that's left are these pieces and these boards, if you will. I'm going to actually take everything inside this shredder, and I'm going to turn all that into mulch. This everything inside this bag is going to be turned into a lovely little um, compost for gardening and stuff. So, need to try new barbecue sauces, but I need stuff that is mild and won't kill my mouth. I'm sure Skull and Mortar has some awesome selections of mild sauces as well. He's known to bring the heat, like once again with the Blackbeard's Ghost. Super spicy. If you haven't seen it yet, you've already subscribed, Nerazuric, to my uh, YouTube page, so you can go there and actually see me try the Blackbeard Ghost sauce, and it was so hot. It was, for a split second, it was good, but then I took a little bit of it, put it in my baked beans. Perfect. Very, very nice heat, but I had to use the bare minimum. But no, I'm sure Skull and Mortar has some other. He's got all kinds of different sauces and rubs, hot sauces, barbecue sauces, rubs. Gotta try them out. Brand new sauce coming tomorrow. It's Nashville hot style, called Backstabber. He's going to be located in Irving. Where at exactly is it going to be, Skull and Mortar? Do you remember? Well, I know you remember. You got to be there tomorrow. So, and if I can, I want to make my way there and try to get a bottle, so I can try it here. Well, actually, on YouTube, because I'm going to be streaming here, and then some nights, if I do anything else fun and different, it may be on YouTube and not here. But so next up, not tonight. We have other books. We have Point of Origin by Patricia Cornell. There you go. Irving Theater. There you guys go. Irving Theater. Anybody that sees this from this point on, if it is not Wednesday yet, Irving Theater, check him out. He's going to be right outside selling his barbecue sauces, having the brand new Backstabber sauce. Cool people to give it out to. But so there's that book. I also have this book. This is Children of Doom, another book that was marked for destruction, that I will be potentially reading and getting rid of as well. I also have some fun little. I have these guys. These books, Trolls, The Happiness Inside, Trolls, Shine. Fun little kids books, but they're beyond repair, doomed for destruction. But being destroyed by my hands, at least I will be paying it some attention and some respect. But anyway, thank you guys very much. Skull and Mortar, before you go, hit that link. Give that link for that barbecue sauce page, so we can get some stuff moved and get you some sauce, some more sauce selling. I know you already got 9,000 orders to take out, but there you go. But once again, thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate all of you being here. Tomorrow night at 11 p.m., I'll be on here again. I'm going to be playing Indie Wrestler. It's a mobile app game using different styles of memory as well as timing, hand-eye coordination, and whatnot to go against other wrestlers that are based on actual wrestlers in the independents. There you go. Let me click on that. Skullmortar.com. Get you guys some awesome sauces. Sauce'em. That's right. Sauce'em. But no, so tomorrow night, 11 to midnight, I'll be playing that. My goal is to eventually get to level 43 so I can unlock the AWR promotion and go against myself. But once again, I want to give a huge shout out. Hopefully, you'll be watching this when it's over. Thank you for the $60 donation to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Because of that, we if you would have done that, we would have not have gotten rid of this book tonight. But if you want, on my Facebook, I have the link to that charity if you want to donate there. But I will be seeing you guys tomorrow night at 11 p.m. if you want to be up and hang out with me. But until then, just remember, this wasn't just reading. This wasn't just shredding. This was science. And push the button.